I want to thank all the folks that have been filling in here and there. I think we finally have this resolved, at least for a while. Today will be the first day in which we try and do our full 3 hours, and against doctor's orders, but we do what we have to do here, don't we? We Philadelphia boys, we're tough. We can't just surrender, you know. We don't just give up. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm watching what's going on in Israel today. We've all been watching what's been going on for a long time now. Actually, before October 7th, with Iran and Hamas, Hezbollah. We talk here about forever wars, and we talk about that rightly. In other words, at some point a war needs to come to an end. Except apparently when it comes to the Jews in Israel. Now, I am stunned by the American media. I'm disgusted by the American media. Now, the reason is because there's not a dime's worth of difference between the American media and the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party fills the American media, and the American media fills the Democrat Party, their staff on Capitol Hill, their staff in the White House, and so forth. They're one and the same. Particularly MSNBC and CNN. But ABC, George Stephanopoulos, the rest of them, Israel's not allowed to win. Israel's not allowed to fight back. Israel's not allowed to destroy their enemies. Israel's not even allowed to try to destroy their enemies. A totally different standard is applied to the state of Israel and to the Jews there than any other country on the face of the earth, including ours. And this administration lit the fire, the forest fire that is still burning in the Middle East. And they keep telling Israel, we have a solution for you. Surrender. The way we did in Afghanistan. Surrender. Not only surrender, but the people who raped and pillaged and murdered your people, give them a country right on your border. Give them Judea and Samaria. Give them your ancient homeland. Oh, yes, and don't worry, we'll protect you. The same Harris-Biden administration that hasn't lifted a finger to stop Iran, but instead has been the bankers for Iran, has been the oil, the oil commodity salesman for Iran. That has breathed life into that horrific regime where the people of Iran would like to overthrow it. By the way, Mr. Producer in America, is this too hard-hitting today? Should I do slapstick? I'm just curious. Should I do slapstick Philadelphia? Is that what I should do? We want it a little lighter, a little happier. Well, this is the nature of the world, and this is conservative talk radio. And this is what we do on conservative talk radio. We talk about things that matter in everybody's life. This matters in everybody's life. This is crucially important because World War III is about to break open. And that's thanks to the appeasers, to the sellouts in the Harris-Biden administration. How is it possible that we have a vice president of the United States, a sitting vice president of the United States, who hasn't been asked a single damn question about what's going on right now with Israel and Hezbollah? Not one question. How is that possible? And she wants a promotion to be Commander-in-Chief, President of the United States. How is that possible? And then we have the Democrat flunkies, the reprobates. They're all out there telling us, well, we don't need to know where she stands, so we kind of know where she stands. We don't need Democrat surrogates, mouthpieces, grifters, operatives telling us what we, the people, need to know and what we, the people, need to hear. But it's already starting. The death toll in Lebanon. I think I just heard 400, 450 dead, several thousand wounded. How many of those are terrorists? We have no idea. So we're going to get the same propaganda. Now, let me tell you a little story. Just a sort of a endnotes history about Lebanon. Lebanon was a beautiful, beautiful country on the Mediterranean. A thriving country where Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived side by side. It was a little paradise in the Middle East. It truly was. Where people got along, there was commerce, there was a very lucrative resort and travel business there. People invested there. And then one day, guess what happened? The president of Lebanon, who happened to be Christian, was assassinated. He was democratically elected. Well, who assassinated him? Iran, through Hezbollah. The terrorists assassinated him. They toppled the government. Now, they still have a representative government there, a democracy, in Beirut, Lebanon. But Hezbollah, in the end, calls the shots. Why? Because Hezbollah is more powerful than the Lebanese army. There was a civil war in Lebanon, and Hezbollah won. So they toppled a beautiful country with beautiful people. They toppled. They assassinated the president. And many people escaped. Many people in our country today are Lebanese. Some are Muslims and Christians and Jews. Some of them are in Europe. They escaped with their lives. That's what's going on in Lebanon today. The people of Lebanon, like the people of Iran, like the people of Yemen, they don't want war. They don't want Iran. They don't want the Houthis. They don't want Hezbollah. But they've got them. And so when people keep talking about why don't the Israelis stand down and so forth and so on, what are we talking about? These are terrorist organizations, terrorist states that have killed Americans, that have come here and blown up our towers, taken out our airliners, that are trying to assassinate, as I speak, Donald Trump. You know, I wish I could be much more light about this, Mr. Producer, and do a tap dance and cut jokes. I just can't do that. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't work. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's the problem. As you know, on October 7th, Israel was attacked. Their people were slaughtered, raped, butchered. On October 8th, Hezbollah started firing their missiles, their more sophisticated missiles, into Israel. Israel has had to swallow 9,000 missiles from Hezbollah since October 8th. But Israel was focused in large part on dealing with Hamas because they wanted to get their hostages out, among other things. 9,000 missiles fired into a sovereign democratic nation, our ally. And Israel has had enough. Hamas is on the run. They have a plan for finally squeezing them out of existence. And so they've decided that Hamas, which has 100,000 men under arms, that is a massive military, and they have 150,000 sophisticated missiles, that has been somewhat reduced as a result of what Israel has been doing and is going to do. And Israel has said enough. Now, here's my problem. None of this would be going on but for the Harris-Biden administration. None of it. And what has the Harris-Biden administration done to Iran as a result of what Iran is doing to the state of Israel? Nothing. Nothing. Well, what do you want them to do? Well, what did Reagan do? He took out their entire oil infrastructure, and that stopped them. Well, what would Trump do? What did Trump do? He took out Soleimani, and he warned them, you do anything else, we're going to take out more, and that stopped them. What has Biden done? What has Harris done? Nothing. In fact, the more Iran does, and the more its surrogates do, the more the terrorists do to the Jews in the Middle East, the more Biden and Harris put pressure on Netanyahu. And they've tried to topple the Netanyahu government. I want to play something for you. This was played a few years back in the last election, Trump versus Biden, but I want to play something for you because I know we have a large Jewish audience. Obviously, the vast majority of the audience isn't Jewish, but we have a large Jewish audience in New York and in Philadelphia, in L.A., and other places. And I want you to listen to this, and I want you to ask yourselves, after you listen to this, what exactly has Kamala Harris done to support and defend Israel? Please take your Democrat hats off. What has she said in the last 72 hours? Not a damn thing. Israel's fighting for its survival. Its survival. She has said nothing, not a word, because she wants the vote of the river to the sea crowd. Dear Bornistan, she's thrown in. She's thrown in with the wrong side. That's why. I want you to listen to this. This is a piece that was done, as I said, a few years ago. Go ahead.
Brooklyn, across the river, the city of friendly people, sometimes called Dodgerville.
In 1955, Holocaust survivors looking to begin their new lives were arriving by the hundreds in Brooklyn. They quickly outgrew their synagogue that was run from a garage, prompting their rabbi to meet with the building's owner, Fred Trump. Today, the Beach Haven Jewish Center stands strong on a plot of land given to the Jewish community for $10 by Mr. Trump. Fred Trump made it his priority to help construct the solid brick synagogue to provide a lifelong place of worship to survivors arriving from Poland, Germany, and Austria. And their families still worship there today, passing by a simple plaque on the wall that reads, Fred Trump, Humanitarian. 62 years later, Donald Trump followed in his father's footsteps to erect another building, the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. Israel has no better friend than President Trump. On November 3rd, vote to honor the loving legacy his father gave to the Jewish people. Vote for Donald J. Trump for president. American Liberty Fund is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
I believe the election is the 5th, but, in several states, Pennsylvania and others, early voting has already started, or is starting. So now the question arises. The use of pagers and walkie-talkies. Oh my goodness. What has Israel done here? An act of terrorism, says a former Democrat, Secretary of Defense, CIA official, Chief of Staff. Terrorism. Oh, yes, they used pagers and walkie-talkies to either kill or injure 3,000 Hezbollah fighters, if not leadership, which, by the way, was absolute genius. Absolute genius as they're laying the foundation or trying to start the beginning of the end of what's been going on against the state of Israel. So now Israel is attacked when it uses guided bombs. Israel is attacked when it uses its IDF foot soldiers. Israel is attacked when it uses pagers and walkie-talkies. Israel is attacked by the American media, a.k.a. the Democrat Party, a.k.a. Harris, a.k.a. Biden, for trying to survive, for God's sakes. For trying to survive.